Grupo Bimbo was founded in Mexico City in 1945. It's now a global leader in bakery and snack industry. Its vision is to be the world's leading bakery company, love and trust in homes anywhere. Bimbo mission is to create a sustainability and high productive company and nurtures and serves people around the world. The select product is Bimbo white bread. No, it's soft texture and not neutral taste. Ideal for everyday use like sandwiches and toast. It's made with high quality wheat flour and sealed in plastic packaging to stay fresh. Each loaf is individually. For logistical is packaging in 12 units per box. Logistic requires temperature, controlled transport, careful handling to avoid damage, and proper labeling for export compliance.
Bimbo is the leading brand in the market of bread in Mexico. It has an average consumption of packaged bread of approximately 33 kilograms per person per year. The following chart explains this data better, from the average pan consumption per person in Mexico to the estimated demand for Bimbo white bread and similar Bimbo brands in Mexico. As you can see in the table, demand is stable and constant due to the product being daily consumed. This means the demand is inelastic, which means that the price can change, but the people will continue to buy it. This also proves Bimbo's customers' loyalty with the company. International demand. Grupo Bimbo exports and sells white bread in over 33 countries like USA, with an average bread consumption per person of 25 kilograms per year. Then we have Central and South America with Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras, and also Colombia and Peru. And we have Europe with Spain and Portugal. The export cost considerations are the following: special packaging, because this prevents crushing and preserves freshness, avoiding the product to get bad in between long trips. Then we have the temperature-controlled transportation, because the bread does not require freezing, but it must avoid humidity and heat. Then we have international freight and logistics that can represent a 30 of 45% of total export costs depending on the country or state they're exporting into, and sanitary and labeling permits that includes health and certificates and local language labeling regulation, for example, the FDA registration in the US. After a brief comparison, we decided that the selected quantity to export must be of 300 boxes. That means 3,600 packages, because it's better to export larger quantities and reduce cost per unit. So in this example, the most appropriate quantity is the 300 boxes. The chosen transportation method for this example is, since white bread has a slightly short period of life when it's kept on shelf in stores, approximately from 7 to 10 days, the best transportation method is by refrigerated freight truck, especially a temperature-controlled trailer. After a brief comparison between the three methods of transportation, we chose that the best is by ground, this means by truck, because maritime shipping is not recommended due to long transit times, and air transport is very fast but is very expensive, so it's not recommendable to use. The advantage of the truck, however, is that it preserves freshness and product integrity, lower cost compared to air freight, and faster distribution to retailers.
To ensure efficiency in the delivery of Bimbo white bread, the most optimal route combines ground and border crossing logistics. The recommended route begins at Bimbo's production plant in Monterrey, Nuevo León, from where refrigerated trucks will transport the cargo via Federal Highway towards Laredo, Texas, which is the main gateway for food exports between Mexico and the US. Once the cargo crosses customs at the World Trade Bridge, it continues to the distribution center located in Dallas, Texas, where Bimbo operates one of its main logistics hubs in the United States. The local transport goes from Monterrey to Laredo, Texas, covering a distance of approximately 230 kilometers. The cost per kilometer is about $2.10, resulting in an estimated cost of $483. For the international transport from Laredo to Dallas, the distance is around 700 kilometers, also using a refrigerated truck. In this case, the cost per kilometer is $2.30, with a total cost of $1,610. The total estimated transport cost is $2,093 per shipment, including fuel, driver tolls, and refrigerated maintenance. When exporting 300 boxes or 3,600 packages, the average transport cost per package is approximately 58 cents. This combination of routes and transportation methods offer the best balance between cost, speed, and product preservation. The export process requires several documents to comply with international trade regulations. The commercial invoice includes the product description, units, and total value, and the Incoterms, serving as proof of sale for customs. The packing list specifies the quantity, weight, and dimensions of each box, making inspections and warehouse control easier. The certificate of origin confirms that the bread is manufactured in Mexico and qualifies for tariff benefits under the USMCA agreement. The bill of lading functions as a transport contract between Grupo Bimbo and the carrier, describing the shipment and delivery details. The sanitary and phytosanitary certificate issued by Senacica or COFEPRIS guarantees that the product meets food safety standards. And finally, the US FDA registration and prior notice are mandatory for all important food products entering the United States. Together, these documents ensure the shipment legality, traceability, and compliance with both Mexican and the US export regulations.
Okay, now we will talk about the requirement to export Bimbo. How we know in our product it is a breed, right? So we know the requirement. We need to go the breed from Mexico to USA, right? The first one it is its person registration and fiscal documentation. This is more specific for the SAT, right? The documentation like we need for to the SAT for goes the product. The next one it is export declaration. This is more declaration for the Mexican custom, right? The next commercial investment. This is most for the information for the all information to the seller and the buyer. The number four, picking list. This is more specific how the product are packed. This can be a box or a pallet or other, right? The number five, certificate of original. Okay, this is more to the treatment under the USMCA, right? That's ported to important must provide a certificate of original that meets the requirements. Okay, the number seven, six, it is a transport documents. How we know it's more important for the transport. Then number seven can be the centenary and food. Sorry, it is the centenary and food safety requirements. Okay, the number eight, it is a code classification. The number nine, additional important requirements, and is it for this. Okay, here we have the import site requirement in the USA. There we have three. The number one, it is a pure notice submission for the FDA. The FDA, it is a Food and Drugs Administration, right? Sorry. The number two, for its facility in registration if applied, right? Okay, this is more for the for the Foods and Drugs Administration. The next, it is reviewed by CBP, the Customer and Border Protection. Okay, here we have the summary of financial steps, right? There, the number one, it is a sales purchase order this night. There, where here we have the, for example, for the purchase order, right? This is from Bimbo. The number two, the seller, Bimbo Mexico, prepares through production and picking according to the expectation, right? And the number three, it is essential of commercial advance and picking list. The number four, prepared for of export, declaration and transport documents. The number five, the product notice complaint to the FDA, like we say after what it is FDA, right? Before, sorry. Okay. And then number seven, it is a ship and tracking arrival to the in the USA. And the number seven, it is a customer currency by import of customer broken the payment of dollars. Okay, here we have the packing and the pake and delivery requirements, right? The first one, the first one is the bread must be packed in the fourth grade, right? The second one, it is the material must complete with the num, right? Here we have an example. There they say the number, well, the num, and they say the different numbers, and then we have the year, right? Where it is a regulation commercial. The next one it is picking show project the product for community, mall, and physical demands during international transportation. Okay, now we have the area the picking. And then we have a 3 points important. The number one it is each concrete and the cardboard box shall be contain the 12 or 24 brick bags, right? Depend of the export order. The number two, it is a boxes must be resistant to compression and humidity and clean market with 3 points. And the number one is a production name and code. The number two, it is a country for original. In this case, can be made in Mexico. And the number three, it is a expiration date and batch number. And the 3 points is its worship plants must be using its heat rate. Okay, now we have the liability. This is according to US Food and the FDA and Mexican number regulations. Product labels must be include the following information, right? Number one, we have an eight. The number one, it is a product name, can be in English or Spanish. And the number two, it is a leaf or ingredients like for the product. The number five, the number three, it is a net content in grams or in other. The number four, it is a nutritional facts planning following the FDA format. The number five, it is a name and address, manufacturer or distributor. The number seven, six, it is a country of original. In this case, can be product in Mexico. The number seven, it is a expiration, but before date. And the number eight, it is a barcode of a batch for a large money number. And now we have the certification requirement by destination country, right? The number one, it is from the FDA registration, normal, right? The number two, it is a good manufacturing practice, the GMP certification, right? The product facilities, more following the MGP, ensure the high process control, etc. Right? And number three, it is a apps requirement, right? The system identify of a control and then for the product, right? Then number four, it is a GFSA. It is a global food safety in situation. It is certificate, right? And the number five, certification for picking materials, right? It is optional, depends on the client market. And it's all.
And now we're going to talk about the tariff classification of the product, which our product, as we said before, is Bimbo White Bread Loaf. We belong to the classification of industrial bakery product made from wet flour. And the TGA, what is TGA? TGA is basically like a book or catalog where you can search about the products that may be imported or exported from one country to another. And HTS is basically the same as TGA, but from United States, and we can see the TGA and the HTS in there. The import duty to the United States from Mexico is going to be 0% under UMSCA, as long as the product complies with the rules of origin, as long as the product, as long as this agreement is respected. And which intercom are we going to use? We choose it to be FCA, which means freight carrier, and this intercom is going to be applied from Mexico City. And what does this intercom mean? It means that the exporter, which is the seller, will deliver the goods packaged and ready at its plant, and the importer, which is the buyer, at the US, is going to handle all the cross-border transportation and customs. And here we have the purchase order. We have the date, November 9, the PO number, which is the purchase order number. We have the address. We have the data of the buyer, which is the importer. We have in there, which is the receipt, where we can see the description, the code, the packaging, the quantity, the unit price, and the total. That is going to be all of this transaction. And we can see that the total is going to be $4,450. The commercial terms is going to be, as we said before, FCA, free carrier. The payment terms are international bank wire transfer, 50% down payment and 50 before the shipment, which means it's going to be 50% of this 4,000 before the shipment and another 50% after the shipment is delivered. And the estimated delivery time is going to be 7 business days after the payment, after the first 50% is paid.
Conclusion. To conclude this integrative learning project, we can affirm that the company Bimbo, and in particular the white bread loaf, represents not only a staple food in the Mexican diet, but also a symbol of industrial, logistical, and commercial capacity of our country. It is interesting to analyze the demand it has in other countries, as well as the multiple processes it must go through to leave Mexico and reach consumers from different cultures and regions, from production in national plants through quality controls, packaging, distribution, and compliance with international regulations, to its final arrival at foreign supermarkets and homes. Each stage reflects a complex network of operations that deserves to be studied.